I love Jacqueline Wilson. I've been reading her books for the best part of about 25 years, and I will always read her new books, even though I'm no longer the target audience in terms of age. And one of her more recent books, relatively recent, was Four Children and It, which I read and I enjoyed, even though I'd never read Five Children in It. She actually wrote it as a continuation from that story, and I can confirm, first of all, if you've never read Five Children and It, absolutely does not matter in terms of being able to understand that book and also this film. And when I realised there was a film version released in 2020, I was keen to check it out. And finally, I have. It's not too bad. This is directed by Andy de Emmony, and we have a great cast. Everybody does a great job, really talented, particularly the children. We also have Russell Brand as Tristan and Trent. We also have Michael Caine as the voice of Psammead, and I'll talk about Psammead in a moment. I actually, as I've said, I've never read Five Children in It, so I can't say how this compares to that story, but I can, of course, talk about it within the context of the novel. And it's about four children who are forced to come together, two sets of siblings, when their parents take them on holidays together. This is the time their parents decide to tell their children they're in a relationship. What an absolutely terrible idea. First of all, no awards for the parents there. I feel like taking your children on holiday and choosing their holiday, their time to relax and get away from things, as the chance to introduce them to their new potential family and their new potential step-parent, not a good idea. At the very least, tell them before you get there, don't drop the bombshell when you arrive. But nevertheless, that's what happens. And the children do not get along. Smash, in particular, is a really irritating character. She does go on a really great journey, but it took me a long time to care for that character. But they're forced to spend time together, and more problems with the parents. They're off hiking, and the children disappear. They run off, and they're away for so long that the sun goes down, and their parents are still just, well, I won't say exactly what the parents are doing, but they're enjoying some alone time in a way that's as PG-friendly as possible. And again, terrible display of parenting here. Two of the children are really quite young, and they just run off on this hiking trail, and then the sun goes down and they haven't seen their children for goodness knows how long. Terrible parents. But that aside, the children run off and they find this beautiful beach. The beach is absolutely gorgeous. Filming takes place apparently in Wicklow and Dublin. I don't know where that beach is specifically. If anybody does, please feel free to let me know. And while they're there, they encounter Psammead. And the character looks really, really brilliant. And the character has the ability to grant wishes, and the wishes only last until sundown, which I think is a really interesting concept. If you could have any wish that your heart desires, knowing that it would only last until sundown of that day, I'd be pretty interested to see what people would come up with. If you have any ideas, feel free to let me know. I don't know what I'd come up with, because I feel like if I had my wish and then it was taken away at sundown or sunset, I'd be a little bit disheartened by that. But we get to see the children being quite creative and quite frankly selfish with some of their wishes. And then there are various other problems that arise and they have to work together. And it's all about these children who have been forced together as a family on this vacation, learning to actually work together. And it's a nice narrative. There's a nice amount of magic. The pacing is really great. The progression of the narrative is great. As I said, the parents are really irritating. I found them to be very, very irresponsible and making some really poor choices, much more poor choices than the children are. The children are actually really great. They're a delight. The performances are really brilliant there, and it's a decent story. I can't remember exactly what happens in Jacqueline Wilson's novel, because it's been quite a few years since I read it. I think I read it when it first came out, and that must be at least 10 years ago now. And I don't remember the specifics, but I remember the general theme. And if you haven't read the book and it sounds like it would appeal to you, I'd say absolutely give it a read. It is an interesting story, but also the film is pretty good as well. You absolutely do not need to have read the book to watch the film. It's a fun story. It's definitely more of a children's film than a family film, but it's entertaining enough. I don't watch that many Jacqueline Wilson book adaptations. I don't know why. I guess if I had to guess why I don't gravitate towards them, I think it's because when I've read them, I've already got a very clear picture in my head of what the characters look like, of what the settings look like, And when I don't see that reflected in the adaptations, it's kind of jarring. But with this one, as I said, it's been a long time since I read it. So I was very happy to watch it. While it's not perfect, I did enjoy it. And if it sounds like it would appeal to you, whether or not you've read the novel, I'd say it's one that's worth checking out.